Hello, everyone. We're going to talk about bivariate analysis today. In this video, we will go through more specific detail on bivariate analysis. That's the most basic cross-tabulation with a specific variable, and then how to create a chart. What is cross-tabulation? Cross-tabulation is a method to quantitatively analyze the relationship between multiple variables. So it is also known as contingency table or crosstab. Cross-tabulation groups variable to understand the correlation between different variable and also show the correlations change from one variable grouping to another. It is not only you can use two variable, although we say this is a bivariate analysis, but also you can add in control variable. But one thing we have to notice is that by adding the control variable, I would suggest you just add one or two maximum, because if you adding too many control variables and putting too many variables all together, this table, okay, this cross-tabulation will become a very big tables, especially if your variable has a lot of categories. So if you're going to explore how will level of religiosity affect their attitudes of against abortion, the variable I select here as example is a 10 and AB any. A 10, which measures the level of religiosity. This variable talk about, basically ask respondent how often the respondent will attend religious services. Abortion, there are many abortion questions, but here I want to just choose cover the most reasons for abortion. So it's AB any. So the question asks if the respondent will support pregnancy women having abortion for any reason. And the responses is yes or no. So in other words, if they answer yes, that means they support women to get abortion no matter what. If they say no, that's mean against. So my hypothesis is people who are more religious are more likely to against abortion. How do we examine the hypothesis? By using cross-tabulation, the bivariate analysis. Here are 3 steps I want to go through with you. Number 1 is that you will have to review the category of survey questions. All these survey questions come from the secondary data. So sometimes by looking at the variable name, such as a 10, AB any, is not enough. Although you know how the question is formed, but it doesn't mean that you know how the categories shows, because that would definitely affect your process in hypothesis testing. So when you look at the GSS data, you will have to go in and check the questionnaire, check at the individual question, how the question are asked. So a 10 variable, they ask the respondent how often they attend the religious services, and the category of answers ranged from never, which is 0, value 0, to nearly attend every week. AB any, it has a yes and no. So yes means women can choose abortion for any reason. So that indicate, from step 1, people who attend religious services frequently should be more likely to respond no on abortion attitude. So if the result shows this way, that support my hypothesis. So my indication here is based on what I hypothesized originally. So after that, the second step, you will run a cross-tabulation in GSS Data Explorer, and then you will select the attend and AB any into the column and row. Remember, when you generate the table percentage, you want to make sure that the percentage go with your independent variable. When you generate the percentage, that percentage should go with a 10, the independent variable. So if I put the a 10 move the attend to column, then I should generate percentage based on column. If you do it in a different way, opposite way, that is fine, but you will have to generate your percentage based on the row, okay? Then the next step is to compare the column percentage for interpretation and then see if your hypothesis is supported. And finally, you can export this table, this output into Excel and to create a chart if you need it. When you run the GSS after you run the cross-tabulation, you will see the output look like that. Okay, so by looking at the percentage, you can tell that I generate the percentage based on the column, because when you add up the column percentage, the total is 100. From this table, you can see that there are 57% of the people who never attend religious services say yes, support abortion, while there are 42% say no. If you look at nearly every week, the very last category, you will see that percentage dropped significantly for those people who say yes, support abortion. So only 28% support abortion, and there are 71% against abortion. Overall, when you compare the percentage for the never and nearly every week category, we can see the pattern. But sometimes only look at the number, it makes it difficult to comprehend. You can consider to export the data to Excel and to generate a chart. So based on the data, you can look at the chart more clearly by comparing the red bar and the blue bar. You can see that the red bar representing no, which is against abortion, while the yes bar representing support abortion. So at the bottom, the axis representing how often attending religious services from never to more than once a week. And when they go to church or religious services very often, you can see that the percentage who against abortion raised up to 88%. And then support abortion only 11%. But for those people who never participate the religious services, the percentage of against abortion is only 42%, and supporting abortion is 57%. So from this chart, this simple bivariate analysis can pretty support the hypothesis that I raised earlier. So if you look at the GSS, here is when you log into the GSS, then you can generate, based on all of the variable you have selected, you can generate your analysis. Here, I already select all the variable, including attend and ABNE. So here you click Create New and select cross-tabulation, go Next. And then you can put down the name here. Normally, I would suggest to the variable name so that just easier for you to differentiate, which table is for what. So here, the analysis is attend by ABNE because I create one previously already. So every new analysis just created, they will always include year, but at this point, I don't need year, and I don't want that to confuse my analysis. So here, I want to put attend into column variable, and I will put ABNE to the row. Okay, and you want to make sure that you generate design corrected standard error, which is the most common way for GSS information. And then you don't want the missing value to be included. So you want to exclude that and also click the chi-square. Okay, then you can create analysis. Very simple. Now the result comes out just like how I display in the PowerPoint slide. So the difference is that when you first generate your analysis, it shows the count, which is the number of respondent answer in that category. But this is not what we want, because simply from the count, it's very difficult to interpret. So you want to choose a different display option by selecting the column percentage. And also, when you generate the percentage, you want to make sure that to include the decimal. And then after that, you can select export to Excel. Okay, here is the Excel that we just generated earlier. And then you can see the table here. Excel is a very good tool for you to create a chart based on the data you have. So to do so, first of all, you will have to take out all of the percent, when you transfer the file. I just did that earlier. So instead of 57.45%, you want to take out that percentage. To create a chart, it's very simple. You can just select this table. Okay, when you select the table, make sure to cover the very top row, which has the label of a 10 variable. Also, the first column, but don't include the total. Okay, after you select it, you click Insert, and then go to the bar chart, which is the one I chose. You can use any other chart to give it a try. So once you click it, you will see this chart automatically generated, and you can easily move the chart down a little bit. So simply showing this part is not yet enough, because there's no title, there's no information on the legend, and also, axis, there's no label. So the way we need to do is that you can select the title and type down your title. So I'll just put a simple title here: How Religiosity Affect Abortion Attitude in 2018, because that's the data I use in 2018. And also on the side, you can choose the Add Chart element by selecting the axis title. So on the vertical part, this is the percentage of voting or against abortion. And then on the bottom, choose the primary horizontal. So this part is level of religiosity, which is the attend variable. In addition to the title and XY axis, you can also change the location of your legend. So same thing, go from this part and you can select where you want to put your legend. Right now the legend is at the bottom, but you can choose to the right or choose to the top. Yeah, either way. So I'll just put on the top. Okay, additionally, you need to label your figure. So I want to have the percentage show on all of my bar chart. So I select the blue part and then right click your mouse and you can add the data label. So in that way, the value of percentage on each bar will show on it. And do the same thing for the red bar. So I select the red bar, right click, and add data label. And that's it. So now this chart is done, and you can copy and paste to put on your PowerPoint slide for presentation. Other than that, we can also add a control variable to your analysis. If you want to do so, then you can explore the impact of attend on abortion by adding a control variable sex. How male and female are different on the impact of attend on abortion. So by holding the control factor as a constant to see how the effect of attend on ABNE may change across different gender groups. So then next you can add a control effect to original hypothesis. So you can compare different gender groups. Male who are more religious are higher in against abortion than those of females. Then that's my second hypothesis. After adding the control effect, you can see that under each of the attend category, you have a male percentage, you have female percentage. instead of a 9 category under a 10, by 2 category under abortion, that's 18, right? Now you're adding 2 more category. So that would be 2 by 9 by 2. So it becomes 36 cells. So if you're adding too many variables, then the whole table will become too many to interpret and very difficult to comprehend. But if you really need to add multiple control variable, then I would suggest using different correlation analysis instead, which will be covered in my next video. How do we use graph to display, an information like this? So you can see that you have a male, female, you have a different level of attending religious services, and then you have attitude, yes or no, on abortion. To use bar chart demonstrate these information will be a little bit difficult. You can just select all of the people who say no, which means they against abortion, because the hypothesis is asking, how religious will affect abortion, people who are saying no, right? So you can just look at the no category, all this information. Those information support abortion. That part I don't include in the chart. I only look at those percentage of a male and a female who against abortion. So that somehow, minimize and also condense the information, and the chart is not too complicated. By compare male and a female, all these people who are against abortion, you can see that women has a higher percentage against men instead of the other way. But one thing that I forgot to add in this chart is, the label of the value. So don't make the same mistake like I do. Yeah, so make sure that you add the data label to your chart. Now let's take a look at the GSS Data Explorer. So I'm going to create a new analysis by adding a control variable. This time, because we're adding a control variable, so we will have to use a multi-level tabulation. If you use a cross-tabulation, it will not be able to allow you to adding more variable. It can only allow you to select cases. Okay, so this is why we want to use the multi-level tabulation. By using the multi-level tabulation, you can do several things. Okay, number one, you can select different year. But one thing you have to be very careful, if you look at this question mark here, it says multi-level tabulation should be calculated for a single year at the time. Selecting multiple years will result in poor analysis across years. In other words, if you select multiple years altogether, they will pile up all of the cases collected in year 2014, 16, and 18. You will have to be very careful and see if you want to pull all of these years of data together. So here I want to do is only for 2018. That will be the way I suggest you as a beginner in the data analysis to do the same way. So do 1 year at a time, and then you can compare the table of separate years. For my analysis, that's 2018. And here the variable is a 10 by AB any and controlled by sex, different sex group. Okay, now I can add the variable. A 10 is the independent variable, will be leaving the column, and the AB any is a dependent variable that will be in the row. What about the control variable? You can do it two ways. One is by using select cases. So if you move the sex variable into select cases, here they will show up the category male and a female only, or you want to have both of them. But what we want to do is not select cases. If you want to do select cases, you will have to separate two tables. When you select male, the output will be focused only on male. And then you do it again and select for female. And that's too much trouble, and then you can't see the whole picture. So instead of doing that, let's just move the sex variable directly to the column variable, because sex is also an independent variable on abortion. So we can put that into the column together. One way you can do is to put sex behind a 10, or you can switch the order and the table will be different. So now I put the sex under a 10. That means they will display the table based on a 10 first, and then divided by the sex variable. So you can see that on the side is abortion attitude, yes or no. And on the top, they put the attend first. So under each of the attend category, they divide it into male and a female group. So never male, female, once a year, male, female, etc. If you do it differently, which means that you put attend after sex, you will see that they have the male, female listed first. And then under male, you have all of the attend category. And if you move the table to the left, and then you can see female and all the category. Either way is fine. Yeah, it's just depending on what you need for that information. And same way, we will display the percentage based on the column, and we will set the decimal 2 digits. That's basically how you do the control effect by using multi-level tabulation in GSS. That will be the end for this part of a video. And then I will talk about correlation on my next video.